We're here today at IBM Smartcamp in Berlin. Actually, it's even the European Championship for IBM Smartcamp, because what these guys are doing is they go to different locations in Europe and all over the world actually and look for hot startups. So we had pitches in London, in Tel Aviv, in Munich, actually all over Europe, and each city has a winner. And right now here in Berlin, there's a great competition. Whoever wins in Berlin goes to New York to defend Europe. So winning in Berlin means you become the European champion and then you could fight for the World Championship. That's basically it, the whole story. You may say, okay, IBM, big corporate company, why would I care? Why is this interesting? Actually, we asked ourselves the same question, and that's why we're here. Take a look at all these startups and afterwards deciding whether we like it or not. Let's go.
Then we went to, I'm sure, one of the oldest restaurants in Berlin.
I've been to London already, Smartcamp London, and this is some kind of I call it the European Championship of Global Entrepreneur. Could you say a little bit about the project itself? Like, how does it fit into IBM's strategy and what's the idea behind it?
Well, IBM's strategy is to try to capture and be a part of every smart idea in the world, because it's going to take a lot of brand new smart ideas to build the smarter planet that we're trying to build. So in a short phrase, if you're working on something that is breakthrough thinking in the world of solving client issues, please, we want to be a part of your success and do whatever we can to help you build your business.
What are the major benefits if a startup comes here and pitches and gains all these contacts?
Well, first of all, the local community is here. If it was just IBM, it would not work. So in the local community of venture firms that are headquartered in Berlin, in fact, it was a VC a year ago who told me you should do something in the hottest town in Europe, and that's Berlin. So we have academic leaders here, business leaders, venture community, successful startup CEOs, technology people, and a handful of real smart teammates of mine from IBM research, development, and technology. So number one, you get a lot of networking help. Number two, you get a lot of free consulting. Number three, you get a lot of free software. Free is an important word. In my language, it's a big word. And because we understand the challenges that startups have about the need for support in many different ways.
I'm Eleanor Watson. I'm founder and CEO of a company called Poikos. We're originally from the UK. We're now based in Amsterdam, thanks to being in Startup Bootcamp Amsterdam and loving the city and the people there.
Okay, this is the business card. It's really thick. You should ask her for one. It's a really nice and interesting one. What is Poikos doing, by the way?
Well, we have created a body measurement platform which uses common consumer devices such as a PC, laptop, or a smartphone. And we're bringing that into e-commerce, into custom fit clothing, and eventually more into health and fitness and doing really interesting stuff with the data which we generate.
I mean, Upload is doing quite a similar thing here in Germany. What do you think of them?
Upload are awesome. It's fantastic to be in Berlin, which is of course the home of Upload, and I think Upload are a great company, and I'm really thankful that Upload came and basically brought this idea into the market and helped to develop this market. So I'm thankful to them for that. And I think they're great guys. They've got great technology. So I wish them the best.
What does IBM aim for? Is it just to get new customers, like companies using their stuff and maybe a bit of innovation and then this was it? Or is there more to it?
I think it's about customer relationship in the future. What they're doing is a different way. If you've been in Hack Forward, if you've been in Seedcamp, this is a completely different approach. It has a main focus on the corporate, on the big IBM world. And you see in the selection of startups that they are focusing on big data, companies which will mainly in the future use computing power, storage power, and all the big assets IBM has to give. This is a different approach than all the others, which are more focused on building big companies.
How about you? I mean, you said it's about deal flow in a way. What is the level here like? Are they experienced, these guys here, or is it a rather low level?
I think they're rather experienced, as Thomas said, because of the areas they are basically doing their business. You need to have certain professional and market experience, and the quality in general is much higher than in average startup contest, where usually social/gaming, geolocal stuff is more popular. Here, this is more about the infrastructure, things which might change the world, but in order to do it, they need also larger partners.
Key information, such as Hi, I'm Adara and I'm CEO of Uzi. We are a location analytics startup. What we're doing is we're making it possible to measure what happens in the physical space. So just like in this room, you might wonder how many people are in this room. You might do the same thing if you're a restaurant or you run a food store. So what we do is we make it possible to measure who happens to be in a room at any given time. And we do this using sensors which our team creates.
How did you come up with this idea?
Well, I used to work at a company called Groupon, and Groupon's focus had always been sending customers to merchants. So what we did was send hundreds of customers at a time to, say, a local business. But the local business could never see if those customers would come back a second time or a third time, which is the whole point. What I did was I then thought about ways to solve this problem, and we came up with what today is Vuzi, because we can now measure completely anonymously whether a person has been to your store before or if it's a new customer. So it really started at Groupon.
Basically, do what's working now. Keep on, focusing on your channel partners, on your customers.
Yeah, I'm Joseph. I'm the founder of Chulex, and we do enterprise energy management for our company. So help them to better understand their energy consumption, and more importantly, lower their energy consumption, thereby lowering their costs. We resell software. It's a standard product, and that's what we do through different business models. So we have Cisco, which is network infrastructure. Or Juniper, for example, but these guys don't do it because they want to sell energy management. They want to do it to take the energy savings that they get and subsidize infrastructure investment. So they want to sell more gear, more switches. So we are an enabler, if you will. Then we have another business model, which is managed service providers like Deutsche Telekom, T-Systems, BT, offering Chulex as a service. And then it's purely focused on energy management. So there's a lot of different business models, but it's always the same software.
Okay, it seems this guy knows what he's talking about. Really impressive. Let's say one word about this whole Smartcamp universe. Basically, I ask myself, does it make sense from a startup perspective to participate, and what does it help you, or in which way does it help you?
Well, I think there's two answers. The first answer is if you're really, starting startup, then I think it's just exposure, and these guys could introduce you to the venture community. That's something that's probably not in our focus. So, but for us, I think IBM as a potential partner could be really, really interesting because it's the only one really missing on our partner list. And IBM has their Smarter Planet initiative, which covers a lot of efficiency topics. So we would be a good fit in their portfolio. So I think for us, it's more business development. But for the others, it might also be intro to the VC community.
So far from IBM Smartcamp in Berlin, obviously you saw really interesting startups. I must admit, for the first time I was able to follow all these pitches because usually I sleep in or go out of the room. It was really, really interesting. And let's be honest, if a big corporate company invites people and startups to an event, you're rather, unsure, does it make sense? Maybe this helped you to gain an idea about what IBM Smartcamp looks like, and maybe next year you're also part of it. Would be happy to, and yeah, see you then.